All right, and welcome everyone to the Ginette Biro Podcast. I'm Ginette Biro, and thank you for joining me on the show as we dive into concepts of expanding consciousness. And today, the topic about consciousness is templates. Now, I've talked about templates before, but this one came from a great conversation with Spirit that also stemmed from a couple readings. There was a couple readings that I did in a row in which this concept of templating really came out. And then I had a further conversation with my guides, and specifically the three guides of the light, because they really seem to be guiding me a ton right now. And again, remember, these guys, I say guys or guides, are light consciousness. So they showed themselves as three guides of light, but they are the essence of light consciousness. They showed themselves as three different guides just for ease of my own brain, right? Because our human brains want to make sense of stuff. And when they can't make sense of it, then it stresses the whole being, actually. And so that's why I say three guides of light. That's their name to me, but they are light consciousness. They are high source energy consciousness that transcends the need for a body. They move through energy. And this is where this information about templating is coming from. And this is why it was really important for me to share with you guys, because what I noticed was we're at this juncture point within these changes we're going through. So we all know we're going through a ton of changes. We know from 2020 to 24, the amount of growth, expansion, shift, and change is equal to that of 100 years. And Spirit's mentioned that many times. So we're kind of in the middle of it right now. But one really interesting thing is that we've moved into a new way of doing stuff. And what I mean by that is templates. So we have had templates of how kind of the world works, of how Spirit works, how our communication with Spirit works. You do this, you tune in this way, you connect this way, you ask questions, you get guidance, you implement the guidance and all this kind of stuff. That's sort of a template, and there's many of those. But what makes it different right now is we've moved into this new state of being active creators of these new templates. And the reason is because the ones that we had before no longer really apply. I mean, we can still use some of them, but instead of us being, if you think of, like, say you work at a restaurant and you're a server, you go into work, you talk to your manager tells you what's in store for the day, which tables you're going to be overseeing and all this kind of stuff. So you go to your manager for the information, and then you do your job, which is kind of how we before would go to Spirit for the information, and then we would carry on doing our job on this planet. What's different now, though, is it's like many people, or the majority of us, have stepped up into now the manager's role. And instead of these employees being kind of under us in this hierarchy, they're working with us, which means our guides are working with us. And yes, there are still higher ups, right? So there's still higher beings that are helping the guides to work with us, and it moves through that. But we are now working as a co-creative unit. So there's no longer manager workers. It's kind of everybody working together. And so what that means is instead of just waiting to get information from Spirit now, they're saying co-create with us. What is it you want? And the interesting thing is this sounds like a selfish question in a sense. Somebody could be like, well, how does what I want change the world? Well, if everybody is being asked what do they want, what do they want to see in the world, what do they want their world to look like, and if they have a hand in co-creating what that is, most people are going to be co-creating something good. And I think this is part of where Spirit is going with this, is if we are given a greater sense of control and authority in what we're co-creating, we're going to create something so much more beautiful than if we're simply always being told what to do. Now, I say that with a bit of a caveat because we've always had free will on our planet. That's one of the agreements within the whole Galactic Federation and Earth Alliance, and the whole way in which the world fits into the whole cosmic world is those on planet Earth have free will to do the things that we truly want to do, make the choices we want, think how we want, all of this kind of stuff. But think about this. Now that we're being given this opportunity to co-create, look at how much confrontation there has been that is trying to push against humanity's ability to have free will. The thing is those pushing against humanity's free will is humans. And so there's this turmoil going on within humanity. And so what Spirit is trying to do is say, hey, we are going to let you guys further co-create with us now. Your ascension is such that you can further co-create. So we want your input. We want to know, what is it in what kind of world are you wanting to evolve into? What is your perspective? Why is that your perspective? And yes, it does matter, because we want to know so that we can co-create and help you make that the reality here. And this is how they're coming in and helping us, right? Because remember, I said with September, Spirit is coming in to help us that much more. This golden light consciousness is coming in for a purpose. And so this has a big hand in where we move forward. And this is why it's been so important throughout all of 2020. Spirit kept talking about the waterfall, talking about know yourself, know who you are, know what you're about, know your why. Because when you start to know what that is in alignment with you, where you're like, yeah, this is me, this is what I'm about, and this is my why, and this is how I'm going to help do my thing to make the world a better place, then you have this like solid frequency which allows the spirit world to help co-create with you. So now we're at this point where we have to really shift the understanding of, now that we're starting to know ourselves, instead of always going to Spirit to say, what should I do next? I know myself, now what do I do? Well, now they're saying, okay, so you know yourself, now what do you want to do? And for many people, that feels really weird. People are used to being told what to do. Even within this realm of having had free will, people were used to kind of following some level of authority somewhere. And so this is shifting. But the key is to have it shift in a way of higher consciousness, and have it shift in a way of the betterment for many, not in a selfish way. Because that's happened before in the past, where people are like, oh, I can have what I want. You know, the old genie in a bottle thing. You have the genie says, what do you want? And you take all the wishes for yourself and you don't feel any better. But when you take those wishes or those co-creations with the genie, which is, you know, an expression of the universe, you can co-create something so much better for the world. And so some people are like, okay, I get that concept. I see it. Okay, so I get to help co-create. What does that look like? Right? Again, wanting to know what it looks like, how to do it. And it's about feeling into the things that bring you joy, the things that bring you peace in your heart, what that looks like in the many aspects of your life. What does that look like for you? And if you don't know what it looks like say, for example, say you wanted to feel healthier. You're like, I just want to feel healthier. I just want to have more energy. Okay, what would it look like for you to have more energy? Well, I would be able to run up and down the stairs and not get winded. I would be able to go play tennis with my kids. I would be able to join a dance class, this and this and this, right? Whatever it may be. Okay, so that's what it would look like. And how would it feel? Well, it would feel really good, because I would feel energized. I would feel happy. I would feel like I'm here for a reason. I would feel, you know, energized to do more things and explore. Okay, what do you then need to do to make that happen? Oh, okay, well, I need to really reassess my diet. I should maybe get my vitamins and minerals up to speed because I'm really low, and I should drink more water and less coffee. Okay, there's your game plan. Right? And that's one example. But if you don't know how to do it going one way, right, saying like, okay, I should start drinking more water, up my vitamins, this and this, because it's going to help me get there. If you don't know what that plan is, go the other way. Start from what you want it to be. And then work your way backwards. Because there's always a way. There is always a way, and that is something that Spirit has taught me ever since I was little, and long before I even realized I was gaining insights and inspirations from Spirit, is that there is always a way. Always. So sometimes if you can't do it forward, you do it backwards, and you'll find the path, right? So again, this idea of co-creating these new templates now allows you opportunity to explore and try stuff out. Now, the other thing they wanted me to mention with this now, because sometimes people get nervous then if I'm creating a new template, then it must be perfect. And absolutely no, it does not. It simply needs your willingness to try, to imagine, envision. And if your template isn't quite what you want, then you toss that one out and you try a new one. And you keep creating until you find the one or ones that fit. And you move forward there, because again, it comes back to our ripples. And I say this all the time, but the ripple that we create in the goodness that we are and what we do has a huge effect on those around us, and then that affects other ripples around them, and it creates this whole ripple around the planet. It really does. And I know we can look at the state of the world right now and think, oh my gosh, this is just, what the heck's happening? This isn't going to get better. But from the higher realms, from the perspective that I get access to be able to see, I can see how we are actually incrementally moving forward. And that a lot of these collisions, explosions, polarities, confrontations that we're seeing in the world right now are shining a light on the things that need to change. And they're shining a light on greater communities, governments, corporations that need to change as a conglomerate. But they're also, from the triggers they cause within each of us, are shining a light on things that we could change. And sometimes it's not even about needing to change something because it's bad about us. It just may be something that's outdated. Something that actually no longer applies, but it's just a, say, rule of thumb you carried your whole life and didn't really question, and then you realize, well, what the heck was I thinking? Is that actually a part of who I am now? No. Okay, I don't need that. And then there you go, no more trigger, right? So these things that are surfacing for us to recognize what it is and get to the point where now, starting this fall, like Spirit said, there would be stuff that comes in the fall time for us to be moving forward with. And one of them is creating these templates. Create your templates. Be curious about what they are. Refine them. You may already have really good templates. And if you do, that's awesome. Just keep using them, right? Keep creating those beautiful ripples. If you're in the midst of creating them, then get busy exploring what they look like. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time to be bringing back this golden age way of being. And some are doing this through higher consciousness in very spiritual ways, like myself, for example. That's where I feel I can really contribute. Other people are doing this in terms of medicine and new technologies, or light therapy, laser therapy, holistic healing methodologies. People are bringing back sound healing, which is becoming revolutionary, all the way to those that are bringing back anthropological evidence of, significant events that really apply to what we're going through now, like you name it. And then those that are teaching children in a new way right now how to be more open-minded to the world around them and be curious and explore. Right? Changes happen in so many different ways, and so there isn't one right way, but there's your way. There's your role that aligns with your purpose on the planet right now. And that's what Spirit really wants you to take the reins of, right? And when you take the reins of it and you really embody it and embody why you're here, then you can get access to this wonderful, powerful energy that is here to really help give a big push behind what you're trying to do or what you're wanting to do. And again, when you know yourself, then you know the way to do it. And now we are in the phase of creating templates. We really are. Each and every one of you are stepping into this ability. So get curious about what they are. Get curious about how the world would be if it was in accordance to what you wanted. And then how can you make that happen for your life, where you're not having to impose it on others, but you live your life by the example you leave, which then inspires other people. It doesn't have to be done by force. I think we've learned in a lot of ways that force isn't necessarily beneficial. But when people have space to think, to ponder, to communicate back and forth, sometimes we can get amazing understandings and much greater group compatibility. So, starts with you. Check out your path, check out your templates, and yeah, I hope that inspires some real deep curiosity within yourself to really see, what's kind of waiting and what's been laying dormant to come out and to surface. It's an exciting point to get here. And so I really hope that you guys can feel inspired by this. If any of you are feeling like you're kind of stuck in the fear or the sadness or darkness or worry, let this be hopefully something that helps pull you out and get you started moving again. Because we get to be moving. We get to consciously and energetically move forward. So I'll leave you guys with that. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will continue to share everything I get as we go. Now for everything else, you guys definitely check out avalonspirit.com. We have lots of offerings there. As well, if you're really wanting to dive into some of the deeper consciousness and what I share on the podcast, like, where consciousness comes from, what is the Earth Alliance or Galactic Federation, understanding parallel timelines, like some of that bigger stuff, do join me at the Cosmic Consciousness Circle that I host once a month. It's on Zoom. And if you're hungry for knowledge and information, I think you guys would love it. So check that out on avalonspirit.com. And for everybody listening or watching, please do like and subscribe, share this stuff. I would be deeply honored. And I wish you guys a wonderful week, and I'll be back soon.